Can you give us examples of human errors that we can find in the Christian Bible and human errors that we can find in the Muslim text?
Yes, absolutely. If I wanted to give you the whole list, I will be talking to you until next week at the same time, but let's do it short. And in Christianity, it says that Jacob went to Egypt with 75 people of his family. Now remember, this is the New Testament. It's part 2 of the same God. God gave the Torah, which is the Old Testament, and the New Testament has to be a continuation of the same God, the same author, right? So it's written in the Torah that Jacob went to Egypt with 70 people. What happened to God? He forgot. He forgot when he gave part 2 that Jacob went to Egypt 70 people, it became 75. That's one example. Another example, in Act 7 in Christianity, it's written that the cave of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which we all know it's in Hebron, it's written in the Torah, it's written in all the Jewish books, it's written in the Talmud 2,000 years ago. It's always been in Hebron until this moment. People go and pray there every day. Even the Muslims made a mosque there, and even Christians go there. So everybody knows it was always in Hebron, but somehow in part 2, which is the New Testament and the Acts, it says that in the city of Shechem, Nablus, it's a different city. Just like saying, I am a messenger of God. God gave me a book. I want all of you to follow my book. And you open the book and see that the Twin Towers collapse in Miami. Every fool will know that that's not the book of God, because God doesn't make such human errors. So here is another example. I give you one last one for Christianity, and then we move to Islam. It's the New Testament started with description of the genealogy all the way from King David to Joseph the carpenter. The story begins that Joseph the Jew, he met Mary, and Joseph and Mary got married. They had a chuppah, just like the Jews get married today. He went out of town. He comes back after a few months, and he sees that Mary is pregnant, and he asks her, how could you have done such thing? You know, I never actually touched you. And she said to him, no, don't suspect me. I'm a virgin. God came to me in a dream, and he made me pregnant. This kid will be some special light to the world. And, you know, that's the story. Just before this story, they actually spend more than an entire page to show the genealogy all the way from King David to Joseph the carpenter. Why the book started with that? Because in Judaism, which they believe and they adopted, it's written that the Messiah must be son of David, has to come from the family of King David. And he did come from the family of David, his son Solomon, and all the generations is described. So therefore, in order for the people to accept JC as the Messiah, you have to prove that he comes from the family of King David. So they describe all the generations all the way to Joseph the carpenter, and right after that they made a huge critical mistake, saying that Joseph is not the biological father. He was born from Mary, but God is the father, as Joseph has nothing to do with JC. It's not his blood, it's not his DNA, and it's not his seed. So why would you spend a page and a half to prove that Joseph the carpenter is a grandson of King David, when right after that you say that he has nothing to do with the baby? He's not the father. This is a ridiculous mistake that leaves no doubt that it's not from God. By the way, you should know, the evangelists, they have 4 books. Mark, John, Luke, and Matthew, right? So in 2 of those 4 books, they describe the genealogy from King David all the way to Joseph and carpenter, and they have 22 mistakes in the genealogy. Let me give you an example what it means. In our Torah, in any book of Judaism, we always know that Abraham gave birth to Isaac, Isaac gave birth to Jacob, Jacob gave birth to Joseph, Joseph gave birth to Ephraim and Menashe, etc., right? We know the order.
Yeah.
Imagine in a book of Genesis, that's what would be written, and then you go to Deuteronomy, and it would be a complete different order. It would be Abraham gave birth to Ephraim. Ephraim gave birth to Isaac. Isaac gave birth to Joseph. Joseph gave birth to any name, and completely different names, different orders, 22 contradictions, 22 mistakes. What happened to God? He doesn't know the right order all the way from King David all the way to Joseph the carpenter, regardless of the fact that they just contradict themselves and say that Joseph has nothing to do with the newborn. You understand? So this is an example. I can give you one example after the other, literally over 1,000 mistakes in Christianity. They're all human error, but not just human error, in the lowest level, meaning that the people that wrote those books, they had very limited knowledge in Judaism. That's why they made so many mistakes and contradictions. And by the way, after you watch my debate with a Christian professor, it's 3 hours debate. It's all about Christianity. I can tell you that at least 1,200 Gentiles converted to Judaism through me, meaning there are many thousands in other places in the world. And I can tell you that there are tens of thousands of Gentiles who became righteous Gentiles. They keep the 7 laws of Noah, and when they die, they go to heaven of Gentiles, and they just follow the only book of God, which is the Torah. The Torah also speaks to the Gentiles, not just to the Jews. The Jews have to be the light to the nation, teach them the principles, tell them the difference between the Jewish people to the non-Jewish people. Everyone has his own mission and purpose in life. Everyone is subject to reward and punishment according to his obligations.